Mulligan. Okay, so run the play for game, our first match here, game 1. Medium hand. I think we keep and put back the Stormbreath. I think Rag and Fury should be added to the Pioneer. I would be a lunatic if I thought Ragavan and Fury would be good additions to Pioneer. I would be a raving lunatic that whose opinion would hold no water. But notice I didn't say no. The answer is no, though. Yeah, Spike, I'm bored today. I'm feeling quite weary of the current Pioneer metagame. Let us add Ragavan and Fury. Let us add Ragavan and Fury to Pioneer. Go nuts. Okay, opponent took like a minute 20 seconds on their first mulligan decision. Did decide to go to 6. Spiky if wants he might do so in Pioneer Horizons. I will eat a Ragavan if Wizards ever makes Ragavan Pioneer legal. Ragavan Nimble Pilferer. I will eat a Ragavan Nimble Pilferer if Wizards ever decides to make Ragavan Nimble Pilferer legal in Pioneer. I feel very comfortable making this bet. I feel very comfortable, very confident with this wager. I feel like I don't think it's coming, chat. I don't think it's coming. Same thing for Fury. I'll do Fury too. What kind of sauce? I will eat it sauceless. This is how confident I feel. I guess an Esper deck. Probably Greasefang. Will it be foil? I mean, I don't want to go out and buy a foil Ragavan. I have regular Ragavans. Haven't you learned from Evan not to say things like that? Well, Evan's problem is that he'll say stuff that realistically could happen, I think. Ragavan Nimble Pilferer will never be Pioneer legal. There's no way. Pioneer Masters 2025. I really feel like this is not something to worry about or talk about nearly as much as we are. Okay, they do discard the Parhelion. Hopefully they don't have the turn 3. Karn is pretty good against them. They have no basics! They have no basics! Oh, man. Chat, I think we found a good matchup. They got no basics over there. Is this the greediest deck build into format? Yeah, people get pretty greedy with it. I mean, if they've got a Greasefang next turn, could lose. I'm gonna get a new hand here too. All right, well, I guess Stormbreath Dragon actually blocks the angel tokens pretty well too. Let's just hope they don't cast Greasefang next turn. Should be pretty good shape if they don't. Best deck to play in LMS Copenhagen to play today. 28 August is tournament. Well, 28 August is... I don't know. I do think it's always funny when people ask me about, I have a tournament in this location. I'm not smart enough to know the metagames of each individual location. It's also like... the metagame is going to be really different from August 28th. And also, you know, best modern deck is, I don't think there's a great answer. Living End, I feel like is an excellent choice at the moment. if you just want me to tell you anything. Living End, I guess. King Eric, thank you for the 4 months. Appreciate you. No fetches, no Ragavan, but Pioneer with Stifle. Well, I would be like into Stifle if Lotus Field weren't already so good. Stifle's probably close to fine. I have a tournament coordinates 21-24, 644, in 3/3 of a fortnight. Yeah, we just turned everything into like a convoluted like word problem. If a Twitch chatter has a Magic tournament at a train station in Belgium at 3:30 on the 3rd month of the year, then what deck should they play in a metagame with with decks that are 1/4 of the color pie and still get to play your pet deck too? So they don't have Greasefang in their hand. They Vanishing Verse my Fires. Let's draw another one. Kind of surprised they didn't take the Wildfire. They have a land. They didn't have a Greasefang last turn, though. They don't have one this turn. I'm going to cast Valakut Awakening. I'm going to get a brand new hand. Looking for Karn or I guess another Wildfire. Oh, here he comes. Watch our opponent turns off the crew. I can pay for basically... I can pay for double swap here. Should be fine. Probably play the land. I think I'm likely to grab Ring of Three Wishes and then Ring of Three Wishes for more Wildfires, and then maybe next turn also get a. Sorry, what's this card called? God-Pharaoh statue. Yeah, I already cast the Awakening, so I can't cast the Ring this turn. So now the Karn shuts off the crew, so we should be feeling okay here. My meta is nothing but control. This is just such a classic meme. That's like, I don't, you know. No. Dude, they discard 2 lands after getting Stone Ring twice. Just like, I just love that Spike, my meta game, is 100% control. It's 30 blue-white control players who are all playing Wafo's latest list and me. What deck can I play to win 100% of the time? And the answer is not whatever you're playing now. That Ring is such a really bad card. Yeah, Ring is a really bad card, but it's like so weirdly good in this deck specifically, where just like the Fires of Invention allows that 5 mana cost to not matter very much. But yeah, it is. This card does suck. I used to play it in EDH. Is this? I guess is this not the first D&D reference, but it is a Ring of Three Wishes. I think is a started off as a D&D thing. Opponent's also playing very slowly. We've used. Well, I mean, I think I should probably just. I can go like next turn Ring. I can Ring for Wildfire, Ring for Wildfire, and then cast both next turn. But this turn, just put a God-Pharaoh statue into play, and then get the last 2 Wildfires with the Ring. Not getting goggles. Well, I don't have a. I guess I have the Stomps. Don't have the Fireball in my hand. My meta is 100% in fact. FNM gets all 4 rounds played in 45 minutes every night. Sounds pretty nice. Should probably play Plague Engineer and name Phyrexian, though, would be my advice to you. Opponent's taking really hard. I mean, they just played every turn of this match like incredibly slow. Don't need to. Usually when players play really fast and then they start to tank on stuff like this. Oh wow, they had a spell. When players play like really fast and then they tank, you could have a conversation about what might be happening. In spots like this, it's just they're just taking forever to do anything. It's okay. Thoughts on a modern Fires deck? I think that Fires of Invention in Modern is really only playable in a Time Warp shell. I haven't. I've played the card in the past, and I just think that it's not really very good in basically any other home. I mean, I'm sticking to the plan here. I can take 4 or 5 damage. We're sticking to the plan. I guess I should wildfire. Cast the first wildfire first, though. Maybe I'll just draw the other one. Leave him with the double mana confluence. Wait, why do they have a blue-green pathway? I have no idea. Chariot? Okay. Yeah, secret intimidation technique. Yeah, we'll wildfire them again, and then the only thing they can do is cast 1-drops, which I think is probably fine. And then we can search for like Sweltering Suns or something maybe next turn. World's kind of our oyster. Yeah, they play this so they don't have to play any basics of the deck. we Cleansing Wildfire them 4 times, each time destroying a land and drawing a card, and they still have 3 lands in play. Not a lot of modern this week. I think I'm playing the Modern Challenge tomorrow. I'm definitely playing the Modern Challenge tomorrow, and then it's just gonna. I think if I scrub out of that, I'll play the Pioneer one for sure, and then I'll probably play the Pioneer one anyways, but for sure if I scrub out. Yeah, Field of the Dead is super banned in Pioneer. I used to actually play the card. Sorry, we have fires. I used to play the card back in the day, and like it was just like the best card in the format the entire time. So I can double activate Den and then Chandra plus stop for the kill next turn. I think. Then I'm 1 mana short of double Den. I guess I can make mana is probably correct. Probably don't need to really nitpick these decisions too much. That's the kind of game you can't really ever lose. Opponent finally finds a concede. And I don't think I want the Angers against them. Well, maybe Anger's better than Light Up the Night. Light Up the Night hits Planeswalkers, but they do make, if they have Chariot, they're making tokens. And like we're just dealing 3 damage to Greasefang anyways. I guess this hits my own permanence. I'll just play like 1 Anger and then 3rd Light Up the Night, I guess. I also doubt that they've got any basic lands in their sideboard, so we're definitely going to want to keep a hand with the Cleansing Wildfire. Oh, the 1 damage from God-Pharaoh statue, okay. Would have had it, huh? Your friends in Dallas who saw you in Dallas said they're really tall. I actually paid all of them to tell you that I'm tall. It was not expensive. We might not get the house because I had to pay your friends to lie to you and say that I'm tall, but I just can't have a public perception fade and people find out the truth. You could tell Ring of 3 Wishes printed in 14 was printed these days. After we moved to 3rd counter, it would turn into an unbeatable genie with an entire novel printed on it. Yeah, probably. Sounds like you should apply for a job at Wizards. That sounds pretty exciting. Call it Ring of 4 Wishes. Never thought about lowering the candle budget. Yeah, no way. I actually felt really short all yesterday because my brother is 6'6" and towers over me despite me being 6 years older than him. If only I wasn't a twin, then maybe I could be 6'6", but twins are like on average a little shorter. Oh yeah, Colossal Dreadmaw. How tall am I? I'm 6'3". He's like 3 inches taller than me. I have a photo of Spike showing the finger to me on the Anzid stream. I had to pause the video 3 times to get the photo right. Yeah, I flipped off the Anzid stream a couple times. Yeah, so I spent all yesterday feeling kind of short. What about snappies and a bug reclamation list? I usually like would prefer Cryptic Command and that kind of flex spot for the reclamation list. Kind of obviously depends on what your exact version looks like. On the draw against Greasefang, probably a little slow, and they also don't play any basics, so yeah, this hand just has a Cleansing Wildfire, so this hand's better. Yeah, I had dinner with Anurag that night too. I was I can Thoughtseize my Wildfire. I hadn't eaten since like 12, and then we had dinner at like 8 p.m. and all the restaurants were like full. There was a wait list. We had to bounce around to a couple of them, and so I got kind of toasted. I told the story. I told the story on Monday, I think, but so like I got kind of toasted, and there were some fans of the channel at the restaurant we were going to. I didn't realize it was the restaurant we were going to, and I like drunkenly tried to like jump over the fence, and then I didn't, and then we ended up sitting right next to the people that I kind of embarrassed myself in front of. It was kind of funny. Tell the best part. Which part? I don't know. I'm forgetting some details, I think. There was one part where, so like we went to this one bar and they were passing out vaginal condoms, which are kind of, you know, me and Esther had never seen one in real life before, and Esther grabbed a couple, and then we were trying to give one of them to whoever won the credit card game, but they didn't want to take it. We were trying to pass it out as a trophy for the winner. I'm trying to think if there's anything else goofy that happened. I was kind of drunk. Esther, we had to leave my car in the city, and Esther drove me home. Anurag was really nice the whole time, really good guy. I had a good time hanging out. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else super fun that happened. Okay, Greasefang, but no Parhelion yet. Yeah, I had a really good time in Dallas that weekend. It was a really fun tournament, lots of good people, lots of good laughs. Yeah, the quality of his stream was crazy good. Just even like being on the back end, not watching it, he had like 2 crazy setups all out of the backpack, tons of equipment, and just everything about it was really impressive. You could just go on and on and on. Yeah, it was just all like super professional, super well thought out, and like not only I guess let's go light up the night into Wildfire this turn. Not only did he have all this equipment and stuff, he also like took the time to like have Tan and Grace and Reed Duke do some, you know, some commentary on it too. It's just like everything about it was like the highest quality. Love your game 7 round against Titan, best games ever. Yeah, it was pretty fast, Tom. Not like this match. Not like this match. Did you meet Amaz? I did meet Amaz, yeah. Amaz actually watches the stream sometimes, and we've been wanting to like hang out for the longest time, but I've been busy for the longest time. But Amaz was really nice. Should have wildfired first. No, we want to light up the night first so we can attack and then wildfire, right? If you wildfire first, the Greasefang blocks the Goblin token because it's a 4/3. Light up has been so mediocre so far. What's the next best thing? I mean, I really like Light Up the Night. I could be like, you might not want to play an effect like this, but I did win some games of my testing, getting Pyromancers and Goggles with the Karn and casting Light Up the Night. I like the card. It could be better as something else though. I think it looks mediocre because it's just been on the stack for like 10 minutes now. Opponent, please. Please. Okay, I'm still gonna wildfire them. And then I guess I will actually just let it deny the Greasefang post-combat if they do block. We are now ahead almost 12 minutes on the clock. Opponent double queuing. I mean, we could just guess what they're doing, you know. We can just, you know, make random speculation what they're doing. Wait, my opponent's also streaming? That can't be true. That can't be true. How can you stream and play this slowly? They are? Okay. It's okay. It's their time. They're silencing me? Why? It's such a weird time to cast silence. It's their time. It's their time. They paid for 25 minutes. They can use as much time as they want. Gaiba was in the 03 bracket in the Pioneer Challenge. 2 minutes left on clock, playing Winota, holding up the tourney. It's kind of funny. But it's their time, you know, they paid for it. So about this spoiler today, I haven't talked about many spoilers today. Oh, we talked about this one a little bit. I don't know if this card sees much constructed play. I think that it's possible it sees some play in Pioneers, play in Standard. Definitely not Modern. I also like the art. I really like. It really reminds me of Wings of the Orzhov, Wings of the Vizkopa. Whatever that card from Gatecrash is, though, like, you know, people always like the art on it. I bet the foil of this is gonna look great, and I'm excited for it. Gift of the Orzhova, yeah. Yeah, the art really reminds me of that. It's also cool to see like a white mana dork. White mana, spend only to cast an angel spell, doesn't feel like a color pie break. The ability to make mana on a vigilant creature is also like really good too, so I like it. I mean, it's also like 2 mana 2/2s though in Modern or in Pioneer are really bad right now, and I don't think they're getting any better. So I don't know. Coco Angels, yeah, maybe. Kind of awkward this card doesn't cast Coco, but not that big a deal. You can time out if you want to. You can leave your clock behind. Because your friends don't stall, and if they don't stall, then they're no friends of mine. Beautiful. I guess I probably could have held that for the Awakening. That being said, I am going to get a Lantern of the Lost here, I think. And then target the Mending. Is Fabled Mirrorbreaker good? Yeah, it's really good in Pioneer. People keep saying it's great in Modern, but I think it keeps ending up being like very fringe playable in Modern. Despite the Gregorian chants under... Fable is good. It's just the best card in the format. I'm going to go to combat. Oh, I guess they only have one card in their hand, so they can't like Thoughtseize themselves. So we don't need to waste time here. Yeah, despite people continuously declaring that the card is good in Modern, I'm not sure that it is. It's not bad. Does Fable fit in the 4-color Yoran Mirror deck? I mean, yeah, probably, but... Again, very fringe playable in Modern is my current evaluation. Wildfire is pretty good against a deck that's just not playing basics. Wow. Yeah, 2 mana Sinkhole draw card. Then Karn also stops the Greasefang. We're almost 15 minutes ahead on the clock, which is the real victory. It's game 2. It's game 2. Opponent has 2 cards in their hand. This doesn't necessarily end the game that quickly, but I do think this is the card to get. Let me actually make a mana here. Just Awakening into turn. What do you think I could cut in the band's control sideboard to make room for Veil? Well, this is kind of always like a hard question to answer. Like when I don't think you should. I think you already like are very favored in the control mirror. You're favored against Grixis Shadow. Veil of Summer is not the card to play to beat Omnath. I don't think you should play Veil. I think Veil is also not the kind of card that shines in an 80-card sideboard in general. So, like, if you want to add Veil to the sideboard because you think it's better than the current sideboard, you're the one that needs to figure it out, you know? Because I don't think it's a good addition. Guancho, for the 2 months. Appreciate you. Oh, sorry, I should have activated the den. This doesn't matter. Nothing matters. I want it for Rhinos because I can't seem to win the matchup. Well, if you want another sideboard card for Rhinos, and you know, play another Supreme Verdict, play play something that interacts with the Rhinos. You know, like I don't feel like Veil of Summer is the card for the matchup necessarily. Mulligan that hand. Bring us Gigantha the Wellspring. Could be a few different decks. I don't think that there's really any one particular deck that Gigantha screams. Testing green black midrange rear beat mono green feels rough. I mean, you have a lot of answers. Oh, it's Gates. I watched Tutors play some Gates last night. You have your Fatal Push Liliana, the Last Hope deck. Like, you know, being able to kill their mana dorks is like super key in that matchup, like it always is. Yeah, oh yeah, does the Gates deck run basics? Never a gate enters the battlefield, draw a card. I think it runs 1 forest. Yeah, it might run 1 forest. I think I'm going to play a Fable this turn. It's Pioneer, why run basics? Field of Ruin is like the main reason. Blue-White Control usually plays a couple copies. My opponent just missed their land drop. I wasn't expecting that to happen, to be honest. I think it's likely they have a forest. I'll just, you know, Wildfire myself. So Wizards deck you 5-0 with Brick trying out. Thinking of playing a local 1K. I like the deck. I 5-0'd with it, you know, like you said. I think it has some room for growth, but I like the deck. Gates Ablaze. Flip this. I think this turn I'm just gonna stomp, cast the Bonecrusher Giant, play Blast Zone. Yeah, looks good. Looks good, Donnie. Alright, second Gates Ablaze. Come on, then. We also have a Fireball in our hand. I just gotta smack him a couple times. Escape to the Wilds, revealing Izzet Guildgate, Azurius Guildgate, Celestia Guildgate, and Plaza of Harmony, which can gain them 3 life, which is pretty relevant. But they're really likely to want to, you know, play different named gates so they can win with Maze's End, obviously. Oh, I didn't realize they had another land to play. Okay. They have 8 cards in their hands. It's a lot of cards in the hand. Okay, so I kind of think at this point I should take out a gate and and just slow my opponent down, see if they have a basic in the deck at all, which is important info for game 3. And they don't have one. I draw the third and fourth Cleansing Wildfire, which is kind of absurd. I think I hit them with the Den. Chandra's kind of interesting because of the Light Up the Night flashback. Oh, they discarded the Forest. Good catch. Good catch. Okay, they do have one. So Plaza lets them game 3 up to 13. Very relevant. 8 full cards in their hand. Growth Spiral. They play as a Guildgate from... Oh, this only puts from hand to play, right? Yeah, hand. Then they play a 3-mana 8/8. So how much mana do I have? I have 10 mana. So I can potentially just go Chandra plus 2, make mana, deal 8 damage to this, attack my opponent for 2. But I think it's probably just way better to fireball them this turn and just flashback next turn. So, one less for each gate you control. Can't be blocked by creatures power 2 or less. ETB, put a gate from your graveyard on top of the library. Okay. They sure are drawing billions of cards. Oh yeah, they probably have the Lifelink Angel. Oh, that card might be hard to beat. We'll see. Yeah, I don't think they play any counter spells. They do play the Unstoppable Arboreal Grazer though. 0 mana 8/8. Celestial, thank you for the tier 1 subscription. Appreciate you. Chandra. I don't think there's really much we lose to here. I don't think there's any 1 mana way for them to deal with my Chandra, but to be honest, if there was one, I'd just kind of like to find out what it is right now. And not find out during a tournament. Okay, well, 1-1 against the formidable Gates. I think I'm gonna want to cut the Sweltering Sun, maybe just bring in the Heart of Kiran, be a bit more aggressive. I'm gonna submit this, and I think I might grab a protein bar real quick too. And this hand's kind of medium. They're on a to 6 though, I guess I'll keep. Then she went attack with the Goblin token last turn. Then they have blockers for the Goblin token. Is there a solution to the Elementals deck? I mean, your Dress Downs are pretty good. Elementals is also not that popular these days, but Dress Down, Verdict are probably going to be your plan A against Elementals as man control. No, by moving the board, we're a Karn deck. Our sideboard's pretty taxed, you know. Don't really get to play everything you might want to. I might just discard 2 Fables here. Maybe Bonecrusher Fable. That's an interesting draw. Probably wait on it. Sorry for the evil laugh, I guess. Not that sorry. That's funny. Yeah, that matchup seemed pretty good, huh? Two matchups that were very... Our last round one opponent was playing 0 basics. This opponent was playing 1 basic. Why can't I play 8 Cleansing Wildfires? I guess I could play Assassin's Trophy. we're not going that deep. Well, thank you for the 10 months. Appreciate you. Welcome back. Okay, so your hammer time. Does Ponzo Land Destruction have a Pioneer variant? I guess you're looking at it. Mostly just kidding. But, well, sure, I'm glad that that wasn't a hammer. Yeah, I don't think that there is a... You know, with no 3-mana Blood Moon, no Magos of the Moon, no Stone Rains, and most land destruction spells in general not being that powerful in this format, I don't think that there is a good variant, no. That's true, I have so many Golos lands. So I think with 8 months, appreciate you. You could maybe play a couple Field of Ruins pretty easily. We have, 7... We have 20 red sources. So you could maybe cut 2 mountains for like 2 Field of Ruin. It'd probably be okay. But there's maybe just better ways to build the deck anyways. Puts Gigant in the hand. We'll just go ahead and put a 4-3 down. It's especially important if they do have Nahiri. Yeah, Hammer Time and Pioneer is starting to pick up in popularity. We've done a couple of deck techs talking about the archetype recently. There's certainly a lot of ins and outs to the archetype, I think. Zara, thank you for the 8 months as well. I always love to see that happen where one person resubs and then someone else resubs like right after for the exact same amount of time. You guys have just been here the entire time. So I can get Blast Zone with Golos next turn. I might just get Combustible Gearhulk or God. Let's get God-Pharaoh statue. They missed a land drop. Shawnee, thank you for the 7 months. Appreciate you. Can't you play Salinity 9 Lives in Pioneer? You probably can. I've never seen that combo beat anybody, though. Bower Power, thank you for the 4 months. Appreciate you. Have we tutored Gearhulk today? I don't think we have today, but in my off-stream testing, I tutored it a lot, and copying with Fable of the Mirror Breaker was really good. But I don't think we've grabbed it today. Stomp is too good against the 9 lives for that to be a playable card. Yeah, I mean, there's probably lots of reasons. Well, I think I've got an easy block. My opponent's going to hammer, but I imagine they're going to hammer here, but that's okay because this falls off. Oh, Resolute Strike. Okay. Well, Karn goes to 1 loyalty. That's going to be just fine, I think. To Golos for Blast Zone. Blast Zone looks absurdly good here. So they play the Nahiri, which can +1, and then they can attach Shadowspear to it. Or they can -6 to dig for an equipment, but then they just dies to Golos. They do find Colossus Hammer. So we're just going to attack, and then probably hold up the Blast Zone. Casting the God-Pharaoh statue is kind of nice, because even if they do hammer the Mutavault and put me to 2 life or whatever, it just doesn't matter that much, because then I have the Blast Zone and the game ends, and there's a God-Pharaoh statue in play. So yeah, it's probably just fine to do this. I think I can play the land too. Could also plus on the statue. I don't think that that's necessary. We have Mardu Pyromancer, even though we don't have looting anymore. I mean, people have tried to work on that kind of deck now. You have Seasoned Pyromancer on Earth. There are, there are plenty of good red-black mid-range decks that are similar enough to Mardu Pyromancer, and I'm sure you'll be able to figure out one that tickles your fancy. Shouldn't you plus and Golos to make a 5/5? It's the second time someone suggested taking that line today. That's not a legal line. Karn can only plus on non-creatures. Yeah, just don't really mind taking 12 here, I think. In fact, they might even realize that and attack my Karn, but yeah, you have to hit me for 12. And I think I should just plus on the statue, attack my opponent for 9. If they fire up both Mutavault attack, I can fire up Den of the Bugbear, trade with one, stomp the other. Do you think Faithless Looting might be unbanned? I sure hope not. I sure hope it will never be unbanned. This is kind of funny that you're saying this because, I've teased Mardu Pyromancer decks for Mardu Pyromancer players for the longest time. Because, like, my perception of the Faithless Looting ban was always, like, I was really happy because Faithless Looting had been the best card in the format for a long time. Not because of Mardu Pyromancer, but because of Dredge, Hollow One, Phoenix, Griselbrand, Goryo's Vengeance, and there were just, like, millions of great Faithless Looting decks, and, like, tons of them could put, like, 8 power into play on turn 1, or just, like, really put you in a bad position early. And then the Mardu Pyromancer players have always been like, no! How could they massacre my boy like this? My precious, precious Faithless Looting. How could Wizards do this to me? And I'm just like, I sure hope that card never gets unbanned ever. And I'm not sorry to all the Mardu Pyromancer players out there. I'm not sorry. Okay, 1 damage short of killing them here. Just gonna play this. We could have dealt them 3 damage with the Light of the Night. Okay, they can't cast a hammer here because of the statue. Should be fine. Pro White's probably pretty good here. We could have Fable and a Golos, I think. What if it didn't have flashback? If Faithless Looting didn't have flashback and it was legal in the format, it would be the best card in Modern. If it was unbanned with flashback, it would immediately be the best card in the format, I think. And I think if you unban a card or print a new version of a card like this, and it's just, like, immediately the best, you've probably made a mistake. If it's just immediately, like, super duper impactful format warping, it would be hugely format warping. What if it was, they would never print a card that's Faithless Looting without flashback but blue. No such card exists. Of course. And nobody look up if it does also. Open the armory, grab a hammer. My sorcery speed removal is looking kind of silly right now. What's the deal with your love affair with Golos? I mean, Golos is the best card ever printed, so why don't you have a love affair with Golos? I think is maybe what we should be asking. Well, I drew the Bonecrusher this turn. I'm feeling pretty good. It was a very lucky top deck. So we'll light up the night. They'll hammer. We'll stomp in response. I'm assuming. I mean, getting Fable down's pretty good, but so is hitting my opponent who's missing land drops with a Stormbreath Dragon, so kind of fine, just jamming. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. My opponent's hitting me for a measly 11 damage. Possibly can race this. Get them down to 10. Shump block. What? Ah, come on. Fine. Game 3. Trying to play for game 3. Scavenger Grounds. Yeah, Scavenger Grounds may be a good option. I'm not. I think you can afford to play like 1 or 2 more colorless lands. So like you could play like a Field of Ruin and one of those would probably be fine. I guess I'll keep this. Kind of a loose hand. So, okay. We draw a indestructible land on turn 2. I'm pretty happy. They also may be light on basics. I'm not sure. I did draw the indestructible land. If they have lands to guard as 8 hammer, you know, good for them. Okay, yeah, we just get to go. I think Fires, Anger. Ooh. Aggro, thank you for the 7 months. Appreciate you. I haven't done the Gearhulk copy yet. I've done it off stream, and it did feel pretty relevant there. I haven't done it on stream yet. So I can Wildfire here, and then I can cast the Stormbreath Dragon if I want to, or it might be better to cast Karn. Both probably seem fine. It's E-Tron Girl from Dallas. We played at the Hunterburton 2 years ago, right? And we chatted at the tournament this last weekend, right? Hello to you. 5-month sub, hell yeah. Stormbreath starts o'clock. Yeah, I think it's kind of close, I think, either way. I could also play Fable, so next turn I can guarantee God-Pharaoh statue. I'm probably just like a little addicted to that card. Yeah, at least someone else considering that line with me. Okay, so I didn't draw the land for that line.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
Texas Toff, thank you for the 100 bits. Appreciate you. I think I'm going to go for Skysovereign here. Karn subsequent. They don't equip, they just attach. All of the ways to get a hammer on, get around Karn. Misspoke, my opponent is E-Tron Girl. Oh, I see. Okay, indestructible. Can't respond. We've already cast our 2 spells this turn. So I think I attack and I can block with the Skysovereign crewed by Din, or just block with the Din itself. Okay, they do see the line of me crewing. Well, 6 + 2 is. Well, I guess I'll just Din crew with the Din. Then you can kill them with the stomp, or can kill them with whatever. Could have paid monstrous. It's 7 mana to monstrous. Did I have 7 mana? I might have. No. Oh, I could have monstrous though if I got Pyromancer's goggles. Yes. I mean, we just have lethal. I should have already stomped. I kind of feel like I'm slow rolling, to be honest. Okay, we're 3-1. Or 3-0. Okay, so on the play, new matchup. 5 lands, 2 4-drops, probably a mulligan. To a very strong hand. I think we're just putting back a Citadel. Besides blue, what color do you think would be good for a devotion deck? I was playing some mono red devotion earlier this week. I like this deck. I think it's very powerful when it goes off, but it is, you know, not super consistent. Like most devotion decks. Can you light up the night with fires in play? Yeah, you can just spend mana on it like normal, but like you still have to respect the 2 spell turn restriction. Yeah, green. Yeah, well, they said besides green. Was Cavalier Flame? It's not a card I've got a lot of experience playing with. And maybe you can play that card over Stormbreath Dragon. Oh, another Wildfire. I'll take it. Stream Decker has 41 cards main. Should Shadowspear be in the side? Yes. Yes, it should. And it is in the actual deck, of course, too. Alright, never stop ramping. I think I want to cast the third Wildfire. If I draw an untapped land, I can go Light Up the Night this plus Sweltering Suns. I should have tapped the Cascading Cataracts though, because now if I draw a colorless land, I can't do that. Didn't draw colorless lands. Sweltering Suns. Spell Pierce would be kind of bad, I guess. No Spell Pierce though. Yeah, Wildfire is so strong when you get to do this. Just like Rampant Growth draw card is really, really strong in any format, and it's like especially strong in Pioneer, I think, where there just aren't Rampant Growths in the first place. So I think if this gets countered, I'm probably not playing the Sokenzan. Oh, this would be a spot where I'd probably get the Cosmos Elixir, but I did just cut it from the sideboard. So I think what I'm actually going to grab here is the Lantern of the Lost. And then I'll just cast Fable also. Could maybe have grabbed God-Pharaoh statue, but like, does that resolve next turn? Maybe they have Spell Pierce. But maybe we can bait the Spell Pierce with the Fable. You see the Pioneer Gruul Twin. I don't know what that is, no. I have 5-0 to 5-0 with Wizards, Johnny. Oh, only the one time. Or stick with the 11 months. Appreciate you. Okay, so they kill my Fable token and they don't deal damage to the Karn. And then they spend 3 mana on a Narset. They minus and reveal. And opt. Interesting. I think I'm gonna keep both these cards in my hands. We can pay for Spell Pierce. I don't think they've got another main deck counter spell besides that. So I think getting the statue down is just great here. And then I'll stomp the Narset so they can't get another card off of it. Oh, yeah, sorry, Wildfire, also because of the Fable. Dude, I'm glad my hand was good because I just forgot about Narset. Yikes. Glad my hand was good. I have not gotten got by Narset yet, but it's inevitable. It's inevitable. It always happens once when you return to a format. I have to click on a YouTube video. I'm not gonna click on a YouTube video. Sorry for the Gruul Twin deck. If you can get to me in like a text form, I'll look at it. Have I made any major changes to the Mono Black Conference list of Modern? I'm playing Golos, but I've been doing that for a while. Some people haven't seen that one. No anger. I think that my opponent is playing the control deck, and Jace's Prodigy typically means the control deck I've learned, not Phoenix, so I don't think you want anger. Oh yeah, Combat Celebrant plus Mana Dork plus Fable is the twin deck. I mean, it's kind of cool to have a combo, but it's also like 3-card combo that does to everything. And you have to play Combat Celebrant in your deck, which is a pretty weak card. I'll keep this hand. I think I'm just gonna put back Light Up the Night. So I would love to draw a Wildfire. Am I ready to brew in Pioneer already? I am. I'm actually playing a brew of mine right now. And we're 3-0 up a game. Do you feel Fires being off? Fires of Invention or Wildfire? I think Fires is good in this deck. I mean, we've got a lot of good synergies with it. Karn especially is one of the best cards you can pair with Cleansing Wildfire or with Fires of Invention. This is also like one of the most powerful cards in the format that isn't seeing a lot of play, and like that's like the exact kind of card you should be brewing with, right? Like this card is one of the best cards in the format, in my opinion, and it's seeing very little, if almost no play. So those are again exactly the kind of cards you want to be looking at pretty closely, trying to figure out. How often did you activate Golos in this league? We've activated it a few times today. I'm not sure if we activated it in this league or not. We've had like a lot of lopsided games in this league so far. I tried brewing it in Modern with Fires of Modern. I mean, I've played Fires of Modern and taking turn shells. I'm not like the person that invented that or anything, but I don't think the card really shines anywhere besides in a taking turns deck, though. Ooh, I thought we could afford to put back the lands because we're seeing 5 cards here. But if we miss on untapped lands, it is pretty gnarly that we did this. Yeah, I mean, at least we have this land and we've got something to do. A Valakut Awakening can be such a hard card to play with. With the Karn board, what Unlicensed Hearse? I mean, Unlicensed Hearse is just an incredibly strong card. Yes, I think I would definitely play one as a Karn target, but I imagine that card's going to see a lot more play in Pioneer outside of just being a Karn target. I imagine that card's going to see a lot of play as just a popular good card. Hall, thank you for Twitch Prime. Appreciate you. How fast is Pioneer? There's a lot of decks that can kill you pretty quick. A lot of powerful combo decks. But there's also like a lot of slow matchups too. Yeah, discarding a card. I guess I'm going to jam Fires. It's very unlikely to resolve. Deck for Snack Bandit. Can you post the link in the chat? We'll take a look. When is this Pro Tour you speak of? It's like end of this year, beginning of next year, but the qualifiers are going to start soon. So, like, gotta learn the format for the qualifiers too. Is there a recording of you playing the... Oh, dude, they have the Collective Defiance. Yeah, Defiance is so much better than Days Undoing, I think. Because it's just, like, castable when you don't have Narset. Okay, going to game 3. Well, I think that you should probably just take over the stream. You're clearly much better at deck building than I am. I just never would have thought something as genius as 420 Cloud Blazers and 3 persists. The 3 persists is really a deep cut, a good meme. Is the Pro Tour going to be multiple formats? As far as I know, the Pro Tour is going to be just Pioneer, the first one. And I also think they're going to end up switching the formats for like, you know, different PTs. I don't think they're all going to be Pioneer, but the first one's going to be. Yeah, I don't think it's Pioneer and Limited. I don't think that's what they announced. It could be. I could be misremembering. I personally I liked playing Limited at the PTs. I will say, like, I didn't love watching it, but I did like playing it. So I thought it was also like very competitive. Like, it was very skill intensive to play Limited at the PTs. I would definitely be in favor of them keeping some number of Limited Pro Tours, maybe not every single time. I also really like that there will. I would really like the formats to change a lot. You know, I think the formats changing a lot would generally be pretty good. I think this said Pioneer, Standard, Modern as format PTs can be. All right. Hopefully this resolves. Bummer. I'll play this so I can cast the Stormbreath next turn. Oh, it confirmed Limited Pioneer. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So if they have a cruise, they can cruise. They have 3 cards in their hand. Fortunately, it does look like they have a cruise. QPT. Like, I would honestly love a Rotisserie Draft Pro Tour. Rotisserie Draft Pro Tour sounds awesome. I'm like maybe the only person in the world though who would be like really into it. I should have played Heart of Kiran first. Didn't get punished. But like vintage Rotisserie Draft Pro Tour would be just like the sickest ever. What is that? So a rotisserie draft, it can be a few different things. Like a rotisserie, like what you establish whatever is legal in the draft, and so a vintage rotisserie draft is every single card legal in vintage. You know, you just imagine that they're all on a table, or they are actually all on a table, and you take turns snake draft picking them. So first person picks one, then it goes around. The 8th person picks twice, and then the 7th person picks. I've done a couple vintage rotisserie drafts with my friends. They're really, really fun. There's some of the best Magic I've ever played, but it's also like the kind of thing like organizing with your friends is really tough. But I actually feel like that format is like super skill intensive, both the drafting and the gameplay. Like the metagame has become really interesting, and yeah, the metagame is everything about vintage rotisserie is really interesting to me. Like I think it's probably my favorite format, but I've only played it a couple times. So it's a cube or random packs. It's not. It can be a cube. You can rotisserie draft with a cube and just lay out all the cube. But the way that you usually do it is you just imagine you have every single vintage card in front of you and you pick it. And once one person picks one card, no one else can pick the other one. So the drafts usually go something like someone picks Black Lotus first usually, although some people pick Ancestral Recall before that. Then goes like Lotus Recall, Time Walk. Then sometimes people will take Time Vault. Sometimes it's Mana Mox Sapphire. Sometimes it's Mana Vault. Mana Crypt. And then it just goes down and back and forth until everybody's drafted. Do you draft the cards face up? Yeah, you have to, because well, how we would do it is we would draft in a spreadsheet. So we would just have a Google Docs throughout the week, and so we'd have a Google Doc throughout the week, and you would just like make your pick, and you could see what was picked. Dude, Red Cap Melee is insane here. Golly, what a blowout. Yeah. Then you just proxy the cards afterwards. Okay, opponent draws or gets an Aether Gust here. Excuse me. Do I have to kill the Narset, or should I just YOLO attack them for 4? Narset's so good against my hand. I think I played this so that I can draw a land, and then Crew, and then Heart of Kiran. I'm not sure. Was the Din attack better? No, because they revealed Aether Gust to Narset. Oh, we just know they have Aether Gust. Okay, it's over. I was thinking maybe I could Monstrous this for the win. Opponent's playing a blue-red control deck that's been pretty popular lately. Let's get a prediction going. The blue-red control deck's been really popular, really good. Early concede. I know I'm not like literally 0%, but my opponent's going to get to Aether Gust my Stormbreath Dragon, and I've got no outs. And they're going to get to draw like 5 cards a turn and kill me in 2 turns. It's not even an early concede. It's not. It's like we actually have no outs. Because if we put the Stormbreath on top, we can play it, and then we can't monster it the next turn. The game is just immediately over. So 2, thank you for the 21 months. Appreciate you. But all the Titans besides Primeval Titan, Loose Focus as like a 2-minute counterspell, Hard Evidence, Aristocrat Rights, Kitchen Finks, Pilgrim, Lord of Atlantis, and then your pet card. And you would think that people would like some of these cards, right? But someone replied, what was it? I thought it was kind of funny. Did they delete it? Did I just fever dream imagine? Hold on. Someone said they disagreed with everything besides allied fast lands. I can't find it. We're playing against Ginger. Just noticed that. But someone tweeted that they disagreed with literally everything on the list besides allied fast lands. I was like, what? There wasn't a single other thing on the list that you liked? No, it was. No, they said hard pass. They said hard pass on everything besides allied fast lands. Which is fine, you know, whatever. So that's funny. Red Mountain. Oh no, this is the first time we've been gotten real bad. I think I'm just gonna deal them 3. Ugh. It's devastating. I thought Verdant Command was Verdant Catacombs. Yeah. I think Verdant Command is a sweet card that would be very good power level for Pioneer. Would then apply the one prime time? Yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know. I think like Primeval Titan is like more reasonable if Castle Garenbrig doesn't exist, but like Castle Garenbrig making the best Titan costs 1 less is just like, no thank you. No thank you. I think all the commands are Pioneer level. Sounds like something a Cryptic Command fan would say. There's another Narset to the Narset. That sounds like something a Cryptic Command fan would say. Get him. Don't you know that nobody in this chat likes Cryptic Command? Monster Stormbreath Dragon next turn is pretty powerful. They hit the Chandra for 2 damage. 7 cards in hand. Is that a hard pass on Cryptic? I mean, I think I've got a soft pass on Cryptic Command. Double Fiery Impulse the Golos. 5 cards in hand. But if they don't kill Chandra, I can Monstrous the Golos. Or sorry, Monstrous the Stormbreath Dragon. And like if this is Treasure Cruise, that's going to be lethal. Any good control decks in Pioneer? We're currently playing against a pretty good control deck. We're playing against one of the blue-red control variants, and then blue-white control is also very good. When I left on Wednesday, blue-white control was like by far it felt like the most popular deck, but we haven't played against it at all today. What do you think about the Naya Winota deck in Pioneer? I think that deck is very good. I think it's maybe a little too good. I don't know. That deck is it's pretty high variance, and like there are a lot of cards in the format that are good against it, and it is a deck that revolves around like curving out into a 4-mana 4/4. But boy, is that 4-mana 4/4! It just has infinite text on it. Okay, so I could play land for turn, Monsters to Stormbreath Dragon, deal them 4 down to 9, and then Chandra for lethal. Do a Pioneer Trophy race at some point? I don't know, maybe. I don't expect to become a primarily Pioneer player. I'm having a good time, but I don't think I would be very likely to commit to a Pioneer Trophy race, because when you commit to a trophy race, you can't play any other formats and win. Or at least I can't. Maybe Demonic Tutors could. Ever thought about Standard or Legacy? Yeah, I've thought about them. I don't know. I love Legacy. I used to be at one point. I've been a primarily Standard player. I've been a primarily Legacy player, not during my streaming career, but before my streaming career. And I will just play the formats that are the most interesting to me. For the 3 years I've been streaming, those have been Modern and Pioneer. But I think if that changes, then I think that it's very likely something big has happened, and I imagine that most people's interests are probably going to be in those formats as well, right? I think whatever I'm interested in is probably going to be largely interesting to you guys too. Yeah, rough hand. I think on the draw it's a keep where we can kill a Jace. We have a Bonecrusher as a threat on turn 3. If we draw Wildfire, we have a Cataracts. So like Wildfire and lands are good draws with this hand. I also like watching Vintage more than I like playing it. I love to watch like an LSV or Menguchi Vintage video. Yeah, yeah, and it's always scary when you like, for me to be like a modern only streamer for like a year and a half and then switch to a different format. But you guys have really liked it, and I've been enjoying it, and so I'm liking the attitude of just doing what I'm interested in. Kind of awkward to play this when we have 2 tap lands, but they have a negate up, so it's gonna be tough to like jam these anyway since the open mana. Yeah, vintage video. Love the vintage videos and all the Menguchi videos, of course. Yeah, but I think oh, brutal. I'll play it out, but we're pretty dead. But I think I watch every single LSV and Menguchi vintage video, despite like me not being very in touch with the format, just because they're really fun to watch. 7 cards in my opponent's hand. I think I'll discard the fires here. I know my opponent has a negate. Could maybe discard the second Chandra. Just go to combat. I think because it comes at the cost of my treasure token, I don't love just like, letting my opponent use the 2 mana on the gate. Oh no, they revealed that negate to a Narset that is... They shuffled what the Days Undoing. Okay. But they must have it. They must have it because they didn't kill... They didn't kill my thing before it attacked. They must have a negate. So I could maybe fire up Din here, but I think with 2 Chandras, I'll just go ahead and trade for the first negate. Maybe you can resolve the second. They're like 100% to have it. Average Joe with the 14 months. Appreciate ya. When I'm going to drop competitive gameplay and become an EDH streamer. Probably when I decide to become an author instead of a streamer, I will just devote my content to just EDH for the last the last few months of my stream, so that I can have Esther meet Post Malone. Esther's a huge Post Malone fan, and Post Malone sometimes hangs out with the EDH people, and Esther's like, can you please like just play some EDH? Would it really be that hard? And the answer is yes. It would be. I can't just play some EDH. But she's like, come on, just a little bit. We do make a magic house, make content all day, real life. Well, I just bought a house, Mengu. You want to move in? You can do the streamer house. We can marry you, and you can get a American citizenship. That's how serious about content I am. I'm gonna bottom it. I think I attack first. I'm kind of okay. If they jump block, and if I cast the stomp and it gets countered or something, it's a pretty bad. This is Dictor time. Make an 8/8. Okay, let's go to game 3. Almost came back after getting Narset Days Undoing too. I have a visa until 2024. Can you move in? You guys, Grant, you can stay with us if you need to for a little while. You can't move in permanently though. Only Menguchi can. Me and Esther have actually talked about like the place we most want to visit in the world is actually Italy. Just like just the food and the architecture and the art, just everything about it. Like that's where we want to go. And so, yeah. I knew you were joking. You've got a good life over there. But we would want to visit Mengu over there. Whenever like a trip to Italy becomes something we can do, which doesn't seem anytime soon. But like we'd love to go to Italy and then like Switzerland. Like the mountains in Switzerland I've always wanted to go to. Control seems hard. We mostly play 1 spell per turn. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's been kind of close. We're better against blue-white control too because we have the Stormbreath Dragons. Okay. Ooh, it's nice. I kind of think... Well, I think Ginger maybe has Spell Pierce because he actually, like, considered for a little while there. So maybe I'm supposed to try to play around Spell Pierce kind of hard here. I can play Chandra through a Spell Pierce on turn 4. Yeah, the Wildfire combo is pretty good in Pioneer. It's just like no Rampant Growth in the format, and this is Rampant Growth draw a card a decent amount of the time. Yeah, this league actually, in rounds 1 and 2, like my round 1 opponent had no basics, and we quadruple Wildfired them in game 1, and our round 2 opponent had only 1 basic, but they discarded it to hand size, then we like double Wildfired them. Yeah, Mazes, we played against Mazes in round 2. They only had 1 basic forest, and we Wildfired them a bunch. I think I just want to use my mana, cast the Stomp. I'm definitely happy if this gets countered. And then... Pretty sure I just want to go Chandra. Chandra cast Bonecrusher, probably. Ooh, Aether Gust. Okay, keep this on top, I guess. How did I know they had no basics? I found out the best way possible. I had Wildfire on turn 2, and I didn't have an indestructible land, so I just Wildfired them, and they didn't get a basic. I guess I'll keep it on top. You get to double spell here, which is nice. We have a big mana advantage, not a big card advantage yet. What are the odds my opponent has a third 2-mana counter? Not high enough, I guess. I think I'm just going to Awakening away the second Awakening. I'm going to do this main phase. Maybe I find a land. Dig Through Time. Pretty scary. I have 8 mana though. Very ahead on board. Yeah, I like Stormbreath a lot today. I assume Dig over Cruise means no Niv Mizzet. My opponent cast Niv game 1. I think. They did, right? No, that was last round. You might be right, actually. We played against 2 blue-red control in a row, so my brain's kind of, like, blurry. Yeah, the Monstrosity very good with fires, too. You have 10 mana with Chandra, so could God-Pharaoh be a decent option next turn? I think it's very likely to be, yeah. It'd be horrible if we get Spell Pierce, though. 2-pack from Killagerm. I'm assuming that's for a deck tech. If you want to post it in chat, we can take a look. Steam Vents, tapped. Can you imagine going for God-Pharaoh statue this turn and getting Spell Pierced? We have 5. We have exactly enough mana. Probably a good enough reason to just get Combustible Gearhulk, to be honest. I was thinking if throwing a single Tails into blue-red control, I think it'd be good. Probably okay. Trying to get back into Pioneer, updated old 5.0 list. Okay, 1 second. Is this a coward stream? My opponent's also just not F6, so yeah, I think this is a coward stream. Or Prismatic Beast to be too good for Pioneer. I mean, this is a Treasure Cruise, Dig Through Time, Deathrite Shaman format, so like, yeah, probably. So this is the new Gaida. I might play 4 of this card. Oh, I like Inspiring Overseer too. Yeah, this seems like a sick upgrades. I don't know that Sanctuary Garden's very good. That card costs 6 mana. I might be interested in like 2nd Archangel Avacyn. I would probably be on also like 3rd Wandering Emperor over 4th main deck Portable Hole, or maybe like 3rd Emperor over 2nd Banishing Light. I mostly just like don't think you need to be playing that many Or you should be playing like at least 3 Wandering Emperors because that card is just great. Okay, let me draw 3 cards. Impulse, take 2. I feel like I keep seeing people play 2 channel lands in these monocolor decks. I think you should just play 1. I do like the 1 Nykthos. I think you should just play 1. I don't know that I love the Mutavaults. You could also, if you're gonna play Mutavaults, maybe you should play the Mutavault combo with the artifact, the 3-mana white artifact. Whatever that card's called. Someone in the chat will tell you. Sideboard's interesting. I like Gideon's Intervention. Yeah, I think maybe Archon is better than Deafening Silence is one thing I've been kind of thinking lately. I think we're almost definitely making mana. Let's see, we have, hold on. We have to cast a 6-drop and a 5-drop, or... Yeah, I mean, really just that. Immediately resolves. Okay. Probably grabbing a Blast Zone here. Can maybe deal with the thing in the ice. Yeah, I think Sideboard looks pretty good. I think I probably wouldn't play Heliod's Intervention. I'd probably maybe play the 3rd Rest in Peace, but I think Sideboard looks pretty good. I think you're probably like around the spot where you could just start jamming some games. Once the new set comes out, of course. Yeah, I think Book of Exalted Deeds Mutavault's a good way to go with the deck too. Just be like a little less heavy on removal maybe. It's pretty white intensive, but that combo is also pretty good. A lot of decks are really cold to it. But not the Cleansing Wildfire deck. You also have like a lot of actual angels too, which is kind of nice. Bounces Golos with Otawara on taps. 6 cards in hand. Not going to chump block with the Gearhulk. What a game. I got 7 in hand. Ginger has 6. What a game. Dig Through Time. Stormbreath Monstrous. Yeah, I think leading on Stormbreath so I can Monstrous is kind of nice. It's awkward though if like Ginger like has like Gus and tries to remove it in response to activation or something. Yeah, land Narset Days Undoing. No, land Narset Days Undoing just loses, right? I've doubled in of the Bugbear. Yeah, they're just dead on board if they do that. Yeah, I think it seems like it makes sense to just go. Well, I can also like go. Can I go Golos activate? I think I'm 1 short. Yeah. I like casting the Stormbreath before I play the land too, so now I can go play land, just attack for 10. And if Ginger does anything, we probably just activate. Okay. I don't think I want to play into a bounce spell or a gust super hard. I'll just stomp the shark token. Okay. Got a little bit, to be honest. So now I think I probably just replay Golos. I think the playing Heart of Kiran plus 3-drop is also pretty fine. But the Golos activation's great. The extra mana is surprisingly like really relevant, I feel. With my hand just still being so much gas. Is Red March any good in this? Red March is unplayable in Pioneer, I think. It's unplayable in Modern too, but well no, so you can play 1 in Belcher, but I don't think it's good in Pioneer. Take up BZ. Take up Blast Zone? I'm not that scared of this thing in the ice. Just not that scared of it. Okay. It's kind of fine. I could go for the double Den activate. Activate 2 Dens. Assuming my opponent has 2 removal spells, I guess we lose. 1 removal spell kills our opponent, though. I mean, they've got 7 cards. Force through an attacker. I mean, yeah, you could do that. It'd be fine. But then we're not playing Golos. 2 Stormbreath Dragons, huh? That's pretty good. Replace 1 with World Tree. Well, the Cataracts being indestructible for Wildfire is really relevant. But you could do that. Alright. That was an awesome match. A really good match to end the stream on. Payoff to the believers. I like this deck a lot. I went 7-3 with it. I don't know how good it is. Just like all the new Pioneer brews have some potential. Just takes a lot of time to figure out how good they are, but this one's definitely very fun. Purion, Waken Inferno, some Blast from the Past. I do want to take some time to thank our sponsor, NordVPN, for sponsoring the channel. NordVPN, great company to be sponsored by. It's really important to have a VPN if you're going to be browsing the internet, which I imagine some of you in the chat are. You can use nordvpn.com/spike to get a nice deal on a VPN plan. Protect your internet privacy. Bypass some region lock content. I also do recommend their NordPass software. I'm not sponsored by the NordPass stuff, but I do use it, and it is really good password management software. All right, so we just beat Ginger. I think it's probably good to raid Ginger. I don't think I've raided.